Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this video, we finally get to do a fun one. The top 10s, like the good top 10s, are easily my favorite thing to do. And this one might be my most favorite because it is my top 10 favorite figures of the year. And now you might be wondering, how does this list differ from the other top 10 list, the top 10 best figures of the year, if the same guy's making both lists? Well, it's the same way I do my reviews. Figures can either be good or bad, regardless of whether I like them or not. So I will like figures that maybe aren't the best more than figures that are the best in terms of quality. You know, sometimes, and I'm sure everybody has experienced this, you like a movie that may not be the highest quality, or you like an action figure in this case that may not be the highest quality, and that's what this list is, the ones that I enjoy the most. Most of them are high quality, I will admit that's a big factor for me. I can't really separate it completely, but this is definitely not the same list, so you should definitely watch both videos, and I'm not just saying that, they are separate lists entirely. So yeah, these are my favorites, and there are more than 10 because we're going to do some honorable mentions for a couple of reasons, but let's go ahead and get started. Okay guys, we're going to get started with a few honorable mentions. This time we're going to do 3. We're going to start with the Storm Collectibles Mortal Kombat Shiva, because, well, you know why. Alright, on to the next one. We have the Marvel Legends Sabretooth, which is from that Wolverine 2-pack. Now, the reason he is not making it on the list is he has a lot of reused parts and he came in a relatively crappy 2-pack, but he's a really good example of how easy it would be for Marvel Legends to be such a better line than it already is. There's not a whole lot more for Sabretooth that needs to be changed for him to be a very enjoyable figure. And then the last honorable mention goes to the McFarlane Toys first appearance, or Pink Glove, whatever you want to call it, Batman, the Detective Comics Batman, where he's got pink gloves. But I really like this figure. It has some serious flaws in the sculpt here and there, but the silhouette is just splendid. And it is relatively well executed for McFarlane Toys, such that at the price point, it's pretty much an easy pickup. If you are into this sort of thing, go ahead and grab it. You're gonna enjoy it. It's not gonna blow you away in any sense, as McFarlane Toys tend to not do, but you will enjoy this guy, so I had to get him in the honorable mentions. Coming in at number 10, we have the Loose Collector Werewolves. Now, I'm sure you guys are well aware of the issues with these figures. The joints are too damn tight, and it's a problem. You have to deal with that. But if you get past that issue, these things are wonderful. The sculpts are fantastic. The engineering is designed in a way that I really enjoy in terms of how to pose the figure. It's obviously the tightness is part of the engineering, but that's a side note. They just look so good, and they have really nice paint jobs, and they're nice, imposing, dynamic looking figures that are gonna actually look like a nice collectible on the shelf. It's something you enjoy looking at, something you enjoy handling once you get past the stuck joints, and it's a good example of how it's not that hard to make collectibles that are fun. Like, these aren't the most advanced things ever. They have fairly standard articulation. They're made out of PVC, and they have a decent, not an incredible, a decent amount of paint. It doesn't take much. So it's really nice to see that a company out there, at least someone, is doing it. Now, I know there are other ones, but these guys did a really good job with this line. It's a shame about the sticky joints and the weirdness that's going on there, but otherwise they're really, really fun to own. But you will have to be aware of those stuck joints if you buy the figure, because you will break it if you don't deal with them appropriately. Coming in at number 9, we have the Flame Toys Transformers Jazz. And I know you guys, a lot of you are like, hey, it's too expensive. And you're right, it's super duper expensive. But I'm telling you guys, of all the lines I have collected or handled or had experience with, there is nothing that feels as premium as these. Nothing. I'm including Hot Toys, I'm including everything I've handled. The Flame Toys figures, while they are not perfect, there are design choices and things like that that could be better. The level of quality of product, the execution, all of it, nothing comes close. These things are excellent, and this guy's a really good one. He's just not as special, so he's not higher on the list, and he is fairly expensive. But I'm telling you, if you haven't had one of these in your hands and you're a Transformers fan, if you can look past the fact that they don't transform, you need to save up or sell some stuff or buy fewer things and get one of these primo figures. They are exceptional. They're so very good, but they do cost, and that's why he's not higher on the list. Coming in at number 8, we have the recent Mafex Zack Snyder version Batman, which is maybe not the most impressive Mafex figure that's ever been released, but they did a really good job capturing the likeness, and it poses well enough that I can really enjoy it. I happen to think that Ben Affleck made the best Batman on screen, despite the fact that he's in some really lousy movies, and the writing's not good, but as far as looks go, at least this is my favorite. Maybe, well, short of Iron Man, my favorite on-screen superhero look. I say look specifically because obviously like Hugh Jackman did a great Wolverine, but you know, the looks have been questionable up until recently. Anyway, this figure I really enjoyed. It poses well enough and it has a really nice aesthetic. When you get it posed, it looks like what it's supposed to look like. It's a lot of fun to play with and pose. Yeah, it scratches a little bit when you pose it around, but hey, this isn't the what's wrong with it list. This is the what do I like about it list, and it does look really nice despite the scratches, and I really enjoy it. In at number 7, we have the Zesray. I still don't know how to pronounce the name. I'm not sure anybody does. The Minotaurs. They have 2. They have, what are they, Thales or something like that, and Kalos? I don't remember. Anyway, it's the 2 Minotaur guys. They're original. Their names don't matter that much. I reviewed them, so you can check them out if you want to. But I don't have like a thing for Minotaurs or anything like that. I just have a thing for figures that are good looking and fun to pose, and they do what they're supposed to do. And that's what these figures are. They're not really cutting any corners. I mean, they're like repaint figures for the most part. But I love the sculpts on these guys. They actually look like what they should look like. We get so many figures these days that don't have like good anatomy and good sculpting that when you get one, it really stands out, and these guys do. They look great, and I wouldn't have thought I'd like them at all when they first came out. Like, I don't care about Minotaurs in the slightest, but there's something about the sculpt and paint and accessories, and it's just like, you know what it is? I can tell you what it is. I just decided. It's that there's soul, there's character, there's something about these. They feel artistic rather than just crap being churned out to sell to kids. Unfortunately, a lot of our collectibles these days feel like that other thing, but these don't. These feel great, so that's why I put them on the list. Coming in at number 6, we have the Storm Collectibles Fei Long. Now, you can debate whether or not this company or Jada did it better, and they have different price points, and the whole thing, they're different, so I'm not even going to do that. But I really enjoy this one, because it looks so damn good, and it came with all the right accessories, and it's everything I want in a Fei Long figure, other than the questionable hips. He's got kind of wide hips, but once you pose him, that goes away, and honestly, I think this might be one of their best releases in the Street Fighter line, at least, and maybe all around. There's something about this one that's extra good. And so, I don't know, I don't have a thing for Fei Long, but this figure is one of my favorites. I put him up there with Sagat and Balrog, probably. Speaking of Street Fighter, let's go ahead and do number 5, the Jada Street Fighter figures. I couldn't pick just one, they're all on here, I love them. I love Street Fighter figures that aren't garbage, and these are way better than not garbage. They're really good figures. I don't love everything about them. I know I'm going to hear people complaining about the aesthetic or saying it's perfect or whatever. I don't care. It's not bad enough to keep me from loving the figures, and that's the thing. So I really enjoy these guys. They pose well, they look good, they come at a good price point, they come with the necessary accessories. I think they are a good follow-up to Soda. Like 15 to 20 years ago. It took them that long to get some more good figures out, but this is a consistent line. It's one of the most consistent lines of really high quality figures for the price point, and they're super fun. They're fun to look at, fun to handle, and they're not so unfun to buy. Coming in at number 4, we might have a surprise here. It's the Revoltech Spider-Man, and I've had people tell me for years how much I hate Revoltech figures, and I always find it funny when people tell me that kind of stuff, because I don't hate lines of figures. I hate bad product, and honestly, the early Revoltech stuff, you could justify it, but it wasn't high quality. They had a lot of QC problems back in the day. Nowadays, those are gone, so I don't mind the stylized look. And they've gotten a lot better at that too. They still could probably hide articulation a little bit better and still have good results, but anyway, it looks much better than the old ones. Just compare the 2 Spider-Man figures, and that tells you everything you need to know. But this one, by the way, is probably the best Spider-Man figure out there if you want to pose it dynamically. Obviously, that's Revoltech's whole thing, is you can get them in really crazy poses. That's kind of essential for Spider-Man to enjoy to its fullest extent, the character that is, and this company did it. The figure is awesome. I wish it wasn't this particular version of Spider-Man, so here's to a 3.0 sometime soon. But yeah, this guy's super fun, and the ugly joints kind of disappear once you get imposed, and it's just a fun figure. A lot of these These Revoltechs lately are a lot more fun than they used to be. They used to be really annoying to handle, and these guys aren't that. And this one's probably the best one I've handled lately. Coming in at number 3, we have the unofficial Illidan figure, which is from Memory Toys, and I think it was called like Demon Killer, Demon Hunter, something like that. I don't remember. Check my review if you want to check. But maybe I named him wrong there too. I'm not sure. I don't speak Chinese, and anyway, whatever. This figure is awesome. It's an unlicensed figure, and so I don't know. I still haven't filmed it yet. I don't know if we're doing unlicensed third-party stuff in the regular top 10 list, but I'm damn sure allowed to put him on my favorite list, because there are no rules for that. And this figure is easily one of my favorites in recent history, not just for this year, but it's a really, really excellent release. You can tell it was designed by somebody who gave a crap. The sculpt, the paint, the design and the engineering, the accessory assortment, everything in this is the way action figures should be. It's the way they used to be more often. Nowadays, we don't get this very often at all. And it's such a shame that you have to go to third parties to get it. Like, what are these companies doing? These ones that hold the licenses in the first place, or the ones that are getting the licenses, why aren't we getting things that feel like passion projects? We're buying collectible toys, after all. Every single one of these that are collectibles, we're not talking about kid stuff, like the $10 cheap stuff. We're talking about adult collectibles. Every single one should feel like it's from a passion project. Now, it's not going to be perfect because of budgeting and whatever, but it should feel like that. This figure does. This figure is a great example of how toys should be made for adult collectors. For number 3, if I'm allowed to do third-party figures, which I am, I have to include the Trans Art Dinobot 2. This figure blew me away. I have at least one other at the time of getting this, at least one other Trans Art figure, and it was pretty good. It's the Optimus Primal Transmetal. This one's better. This one's so much better than I expected it to be. For being an unlicensed thing that's not excessively expensive, I don't know how this is happening, how such good figures are being made by these companies that have no like real resources behind them. It's almost like all these companies that do have the licenses aren't putting their resources to things that matter. And this figure, if you're at all into Dinobot or Beast Wars or Transformers or just cool figures, you really should check it out, guys. It's a really excellent release. It's a ton of fun to handle. It's not a finicky mess that you might expect a third-party Dinobot 2 to be. I know there's another brand that made one that kind of is that, but it does have some attributes that are good too. But anyway, this is the one I would pick, and I definitely recommend it if you are at all inclined to trying something like this, and give it a shot. In fact, I think this guy's still available at Big Bad Toy Store. So if you wanted to, I would give it a shot, but it is one of my absolute favorites for a long time. Not just this year, but he happened to come out this year. And finally, coming in at number 1, we have the Flame Toys Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Megazord, the Dino Megazord, and it is a thing of beauty. It is absolutely one of the best looking, best executed, coolest things in my collection. Now, I understand if the price tag is scaring you away, I get it. That's fine. And if you don't want to spend that money, that's fine, that makes sense. But I have to recommend, guys, that if you are collecting a lot of lower end figures, just once in a while, suspend your lower end collecting and try getting something like this and see how it suits you. I have a feeling you're gonna like it a whole bunch, if you're inclined to this sort of thing. Of course, the stylization is definitely a thing some people won't like. I happen to love it. I think Megazord with wings is super cool, and I think they made all the right choices. Their Dragon Zord that's coming out, I don't know how I feel about that. But this one I think couldn't really have been done better, like in a general sense. Obviously, there's little things here and there, and mine still won't twist at the waist. I don't know why it won't twist. But anyway, this thing is a perfect example of how sometimes spending a lot more money for one item as opposed to a bunch of items for the same amount of money might be a good choice. I think a lot of people these days aren't really willing to dip their toes into that pool of water, but I think if you do, you're going to collect differently. You're going to enjoy your collection more and have better products to show for it. So guys, give it a try. That's my urging to you, just as a fellow collector, not as a reviewer or anything like that. I don't get anything for this, but I'm telling you, you're going to enjoy it a whole lot more. One of these versus 10 Marvel Legends, or I don't know what the cost was, 20 Marvel Legends. Either way, that's just a good example. Like, you're not going to enjoy those 20 Marvel Legends anywhere near as much as you're going to enjoy that much money going into 1 or 2 or 3 much higher end figures. So give it a shot and let me know what you guys think. But I love this thing. It's easily one of my favorite collection pieces of all time, but certainly of this year. Alright guys, that's going to do it for my top 10 or so list of my favorite figures for 2024. Let me know in the comment section below which ones were your favorites, and did you have any guilty pleasures this year? I do. I have one. I didn't mention it, so I'll throw it in now as a bonus. It's the pixelated McFarlane Batman. Not anywhere near as good as it could be, but way better than it had any right to be, and I really enjoyed that one, but not enough to put it on this list. But if you have anything like that, let me know in the comment section below, guys. But thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, and if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos every single day, except for sometimes around holidays, and thousands of videos already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that, and in the meantime, keep collecting.